Hey everybody, what's going on? This is the book addiction tag, I think. Some kind of book addict mainline books tag. I was tagged. I don't know who did it, so this person originated it, sure. But I was tagged by Dina over at Books Yada Yada. So thanks, Dina, because I was like trying to figure out what I should do as far as tags are concerned, because I felt like I should have done one, but I didn't do it. Yada yada. Alrighty. Question the first is the longest you can comfortably go without picking up a book. So for me, it's like after like 5 days, I'll probably pick up a book. I mean, after about 5 days, I will like just gravitate towards a book, just because every other like the computer will start to like freak me out. I just need that kind of long form, concentrated type of entertainment or edutainment, whatever. Okay, number 2, how many books? What did I even write? Oh, how many books do you have on your person at any one time? Well, it's going to be a lot more soon, because I just got the For Reading app, which is what my library uses for like online library stuff. And I have 3 books on there right now, and then I have 3 books on my Kindle app. And then I usually have like a other book on me. So like, what, 7-ish, 8-ish, depending. That's fair. I won't judge myself on it. Okay, so do you keep every book you buy, or do you make room for books? I'm a hoarder, I suppose. Like, I keep my piss in bottles. I keep every book that I buy, you know? Although I did once try to burn my copy of A Clockwork Orange for the sake of a photo op, it didn't work out. Like, I should have had some like accelerant fluid on it. But aside from A Clockwork Orange, I pretty much keep every book that I have. How long is the bookshop visits? I wrote these all funny, I'm sorry. So when I go out to a bookshop, you know what I mean? It's like the 1 hour thing, man. Like, I just go to the bookshop, and usually I'll have something in my mind, and if it's, you know, not there or there, whatever, then it's time to roam. That could take 30 minutes to an hour. Okay, number 5, something along the lines of how much time per day do you read? Like, these days, like an hour of straight up reading. Beyond that, like taking notes too. Like right now I'm reading a lot on copywriting and business intelligence and data and stuff. And I'll try to buttress my reading with videos on the similar topic to try to get like a balance, but it seems to me that the books that I'm reading have the fundamentals, and the videos that I watch are all just like abstracted in a way that is more specific to that person or people like that person who will need to hear it in that specific way. So I'm pretty much better off just reading the books. So that's just one on my to-do list. Just stop messing around with people on YouTube. Except for you guys. You're fine. Where does pick up a book appear on your daily to-do list? Usually, if I ever have to take a bus, that's when it pops up, you know what I mean? How many books you reckon you got? I'm gonna like just count it, and so it'll be here, right? That's the real number, but my wild semi-educated guess is something along the lines of 110. I'm sure, I don't know, I'll probably look stupid after that. How often do you bring books up in conversation? Like a lot, man. I have a podcast I do with the homie John Paul Zado and Fasika. We chat about politics and law, stuff like that. It seems like every episode or something, I'll be like, oh, you know, this reminds me of this book or that book. That's pretty much how I use it, you know, whenever something happens, I'll be like, oh, you ever read The Stranger? That kind of stuff. I mean, you guys know what I'm talking about. And then there's that other thing, like if I'm reading a nonfiction book, then it's like on the sly. I mean, I'm reading this book. I mean, it's like heavy on the back burner. It's called like something about how to not be wrong. In one of the first chapters, it talked about the Laffer curve. Something about essentially if you take 0% taxes, then the government will collect 0 taxes. But if the government collects 100% taxes, then the government also collects 0% taxes because no one's making money. Like the government's like strong arming everybody, no one's making money. So like there's like a percentage of return of taxes you'll get for like how much you say you're supposed to, collect. You know what I mean? So we're talking about something, and I was like, oh yeah, that's like the Laffer curve. I just pulled the Laffer curve out of my butt, and I didn't say I read it here or there, but you know what I mean? So that kind of thing. What's the biggest book you finished? I think the largest page count book that I've ever finished, I'm not gonna count the Bible, is A Clash of Kings by George R.R. Martin. Goodreads said it's like 900 or so pages, and I can't think of any thousander that I've ever read. So yeah, that's it. That's the answer. Sure. Is there a book that you like hunted? I did. I was hunting a book, Poor Son by Donald Goins. I was like looking for a copy because I couldn't get like a physical copy at the library, and none of the bookstores in my town had any Donald Goins. Oh, actually, there was some Donald Goins in Barnes & Noble, so it was like Dope Fiend and Black Gangster. It ended like a Stephen King novel, I guess, because I figured out how to do the online book thing, the ebooks in my library. I figured that out. So they had an ebook of Poor Son. So yeah, mission accomplished. Is there a book that you had to like struggle to finish because you refused the DNF? Yeah, so actually the first book that I reviewed on this channel, Sapanchikovo and Its Inhabitants, by Fyodor Dostoevsky, because I got that in a set of 2, like a single volume of 2 books. The first story was called My Uncle's Dream, and the second story, Sapanchikovo and Its Inhabitants. Each book was less than 200 pages, but by the time I got into that second story, I was like, yeah, I don't care about this no more. I don't want to finish, but also I don't want to not finish. So I kind of just grit my teeth and bore through it. And then I started this channel, so, whatever. There we go. It was worth it. What are your 3 book goals you got for the year? Okay, so, of course, the Goodreads challenge, 50 books is my number. I'm kind of on track if I'm doing a book a week, so screw it. I want to finish Demons because, like I said, it's been freaking years. You know what I mean? Like, gotta put that joint to bed. And then I want to freaking like write one. I have a story. Like, I don't want to like be an author or nothing like that, but I've got this story. You know what I mean? And I feel like I'm not gonna cry if no one buys it. You know what I mean? I just gotta make it happen. That's all that is. 13. Did you ever convert someone into a reader? I don't think so. What do books mean to you in 5 words? What did I write? I wrote words in order on paper. I don't think I'm like in love with the idea of books. I was actually chatting with the homie about this the other day. Shout out Uptown. But like, I can't stand when books are inaccurate. Here's what I said. I'm trying to read this book, which is like getting a lot of play right now between all y'all. The Chandler Morrison Dead Inside. And I'm seeing everyone's reviews, and people are like, I hate this book. It's the worst book ever. Yada, yada, yada. It was well written, but I hate it. And I was like, okay, well, if everyone hates it, but they're saying it's well written, then they must hate the subject matter. And it's about a guy who's a necrophiliac or something. And if it's so terrible that everyone hates it, then he's got to be doing something really heinous, like having sex with a dead baby. That's what I imagine is going on. So I'm like, well, if that's what's happening, then I've got to get into this book, because I haven't read anything really perverse since Crash, and I'm kind of wishing for a new dose of that. But then I started to read this book, and the guy is kind of like me. He's like acting like he's too cool for school and stuff, and like pretending like he doesn't enjoy being a necrophiliac or something. But anyway, he's getting a blowjob from like the hottest chick in his class as like payment for a school pride or something like that. There's some hoeing going on. But he, after 15 minutes of what anyone would call a college try, he continues to remain flaccid, and she takes it so personal. Like she started like calling him names and like getting like offended. I broke my immersion pretty hardcore because like that's not something that like hoes do. Okay, you can say that, sure, like you could say like him not being hard or whatever, like remaining flaccid is like you could say that that's the part that doesn't make sense in that story. But I'm willing to let that be the creative variable. Like, oh, this is the thing that we're going to suspend disbelief on. Okay, fine, this is a character who can only become sexually aroused through dead bodies. That's fine. I just did a whole book about people that can only be aroused by their wounds. You know what I mean? Like, I'm willing to let that slide. But if that's the case, and then you add this other thing that doesn't quite make sense, then the whole story doesn't make sense. We're at this part with this place with the internet and the internet age, where we know what things are like in reality. You know, I was like, even when I read For Your Eyes Only, Ian Fleming in that story describes a movie death where someone gets shot and they throw their arms up and they fall into the water. You know, like that's not how people die. This is how people die. It's not pretty. It's shocking. It's upsetting, and it's not flashy either. Whenever I read movie-style deaths and things like that, I just get upset. Like if you don't know what that is, then how can I assume that you know anything else about what you're trying to say? How can I assume that your critique of reality is going to have legs? Because what I hear from so many bookish people and people who love books is that it reflects reality, and that our stories or whatever, they allow us to see into other people's realities. And I'm like, people can't, if that's the case, and people aren't really being real to objective reality, how can I assume that they're being real to themselves and that they're portraying themselves honestly? It's a problem with reading a freaking autobiography. You know what I mean? Like, so many people read Iceberg Slim's autobiography and they're like, oh, he called himself Iceberg Slim because he got shot through his hat and he was so high on cocaine that he didn't move at all. He just looked around like he was so cool, and his buddy was like, you're like ice, you're cold as ice, you're iceberg now. That's not what happened. He wasn't even called Iceberg Slim on the street. He was called Kavanaugh Slim. I just don't believe it as much as I can believe anything. And if you know me and my channel or whatever, you've seen my freaking demon story, I don't believe much of anything about anything anymore. I'm not going to give any gravity to a series of words just because someone wrote it on a piece of paper. Alright, well, that's my story. I guess it's time to tag people. So, Clean Read Mom, Erica, hey, you're up. To the Lit House, what's up, Yasmin? And Dostoevsky fan 1-1, I say 11, but he says 1-1. Well, what's up, Lino? I'll see you on Friday. Also, me and Lino, we do a Think and Grow Rich mastermind where we essentially just check up on each other. We're following the principles of Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich, and we're giving ourselves, like, I guess 3 months or so to see if it'll work out. That's going over on his channel, Dostoevsky's Fan 1-1. So you can catch us there, just talking about our lives and how we're thinking and stuff. Yeah, there we go. That's probably what that is.